But when they decide to land and kidnap people, like the guy from Mirasol, we can start to worry because they did it. It was just a small light like this in the sky that bothered Villas Boas for about 2 weeks. Even in cities like this, small lights in the sky can be dangerous to humans. This is amazing to see how many cases of UFOs can be seen in middle of the cities, big or small cities. We have registered a lot in Brazil. Also, as you well know, from the late 80s and 70s, this light in the sky is starting a new era in abduction phenomena, the kidnapping of people while sleeping. Up to that time, it was very common kidnapping of people entirely. See, I'm being taken entirely. They take me, my body, my soul, and everything. But from the 70s, late 70s, starting and early 80s, they started kidnap people in big cities like that while they were sleeping in their rooms, in apartments, building like that. But they didn't kidnap the body. They started taking the soul, or whatever you can call it.
It landed there, it crashed. What happened?
See that? You can see the side of the road over here on the hill over there.
Yeah.
Like I got the old road. That road wasn't there. It came around like that and hit the dirt right there, and he made a big groove all the way around like it was turning. And it came down, and this right here was like a bunch of sand, an arroyo, and a bunch of sand, and it just buried itself right in here, and it stood up this way. That's where the hole, you can see the hole right here on the side, on the top of it. But this is where it stopped. The mesquite right there, there were trees. I mean, this 70 years, there were trees. We used to hide right there. The horses were behind there. And we used to hide right there where the military used to be working over here on that object. That the trailer was loaded right over here where they picked it up from there. And the creatures were, see, it was leaning upright like that. When it landed, it buried part of it on the sand, and the hole was right over here. That's how come we could see from up above. They were running, these little four guys were running back and forth.
How were they?
How were they?
Yeah.
Like a fire ant, hormiga, like that, except that gray. And they had long arms, 4 fingers, no ears, and the eyes were, teardrop. And it looked like they were naked, but it looked like they had a uniform, or I don't know what. It was a smooth, But I noticed the arms; they were longer than ours. And I noticed that the 4 fingers only. And it looked like they were naked, but
get into this factor. You said there's some fluid coming out of the ET or
Correct.
the being itself.
That's what he said.
Was there any color to the?
It was a darker type color.
Was there any color? Like, was it red?
Don't know. He just said a darker fluid came out of the body as they made the incision with the scalpel. And one other thing,
some people actually believe that these beings are like biological, but then they are also like they're cyborgish.
Yes,
and
I've
they
heard
could
that
be
as well.
robotic as well. Some kind of oil.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. Some people, when they say, I got picked up by the alien, they mean it. And this lady is in Chile. This was given to me by my buddy Sanchez. And you can see the marks here. These are gigantic, huge handprints that are literally have a caustic effect. And the doctor said, I have no idea what would cause this. I have no idea. It's a caustic material that was on the hands of whatever it was that picked her up. Already ready. Yes, sir.
We appreciate you coming over here. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Where do you think these beings are coming from?
Great question. I didn't have time. I wanted to get into that tonight, but it's just too much. In my opinion, I'm going to give you the fast food version. I will prove it, in my opinion, or not be able to prove it, one of the two, this year. Because we do have some DNA from an alleged one of these beings and so on, and we have other evidence as well, fluorescence evidence, which kind of gives us a fingerprint of these entities. In my opinion, when you look at the aliens all lined up, 7 of them, the Nordic, the Bigfoot, and the little guy, and his doctor, and all of those, reptile, all of them, ask yourself a real simple question. If I were from another planet, or wherever in the universe, and I wanted to make a praying mantis type being 7 foot tall, where would I get some praying mantis DNA? Probably planet Earth. If I were going to do that with a reptile, where would I get probably the best look? All of it comes from here. What I'm trying to tell people, and of course a lot of people don't hear this, I'm an investigator. I don't care where it comes from. I don't have a dog in this race. My point is that, in my opinion, from what we found after 38 years of work on this stuff, is that these entities are made, hatched, cloned, manufactured. They're transgenics is what they really are. Out there, they're made out there, but the DNA came from here. I mean, the Hopi and the Navajo and the Zuni all say the same thing. These are the ant people. That's the little guys that in the ancient carvings on the walls, they actually have little antennas sticking off their head. You say, why don't they have them today? Because the models you're looking at today, those back then were like the Model T, and now they have a Lexus. My opinion, that DNA comes from here. Someone else is using them to interact with human beings, pawning them off, in my opinion, as aliens, whatever they, I don't know what they are, but they appear to be a transgenic manufacturer or maker clone of something from DNA from this world. That's my best short answer to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And it looked like they were naked, but
when the film is called The Coming UFO Invasion, because we believe it's soon, but the subtitle is Exposing the Dragon's Dark Secrets. Chuck Missler, the late Chuck Missler, when I asked him, what about the hybrids? Without hesitation, he said, Satan is outnumbered 2-1, he's building an army.
Victorious. In other words, they were fighting God's plan for renewal of sinful human beings with their own plan, which is create slaves, create an army, a dark army, and go forth against God. And as strange as it sounds, this continues to this very day. And we talk about these things in the Bible all the time. Principalities, powers, rulers of darkness. LA, they really exist.
They exist, they're here, they have an agenda, and their hubris, they think that somehow they can overturn the work of the cross, which is why the end game in Armageddon, the hybrids will be there in that dragon's army and that satanic army. She's abducted again, but she doesn't know it, but she's been taken. She's been abducted again. And she realizes that something is wrong. She wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning. She goes to the emergency room, they do an ultrasound. No heartbeat. They do a DNC, no fetal tissue. And the doctor looks at her and goes, "Are you sure you were pregnant?" And she says this in the film. And she looks right at the camera and she goes, "You can call my doctor. I know I was pregnant." And this happens to her 2 other times for a total of 3 hybrids. And I'm not going to give away the farm.
And my question, and it's a question with purpose, who are these people that are taking you out of your bed at night? If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, if you're unsaved, if you're vulnerable, you can be taken and used, by the way, for very many different things by these creatures. Who are they? What's their background? What are they doing now?
Fallen angels, the Greys, the little guys with the big heads, in my opinion, and other researchers have said the same thing. The late David Flynn also posited that these little Greys are actually biological avatars, okay, to house the bodies of the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. The Nephilim are the progeny of fallen angels and the women of earth. We just read it in the book of Enoch, creating this hybrid known as the Nephilim. Luke tells us, Jesus tells us in Luke, that it'll be like the days of Noah when the Son of Man returns. We're here because hybrids are being created. The dark, nefarious, fallen angels are taking genetic material and creating a hybrid being. The Greys are the biological suits, the avatars that the demons, which are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, can inhabit. And I realize that sounds really strange, but this is based on decades and decades of research and talking to people who aren't Christians, telling us that they're aboard the ships and they see the Greys stacked up like suits, like stacks of chairs. Why would they do that? Because they're biological avatars, in my opinion. The demons inhabit it. But there are other entities on
They're
these
preparing
ships.
for something.
Exactly.
And what exactly is that? Where do we read about it in the Bible?
This is the Battle of Armageddon.
And since I started this, since I lost my ability to record, I've learned something from what has become a dear brother, a friend in the Lord that I met at MUFON. And with what I'm going to show you, part of me has been holding back because I'm going, man, this is just going to sound so weird, so bizarre, that once I say this, nobody in the world is going to believe it. Everybody's going to stop listening, and we'll shut our ministry down, and me and Sweetie Pie will get in our RV and just go. Nobody will take me seriously anymore. But God had to show me something, and once He did, now I'm ready. So before the devil's like flies drops down through the ceiling, Michael throwing him out of heaven and all, and lands on top of my head, let's get going with it. Matthew chapter 24, verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all of the tribes of the earth mourn. Why are they mourning? Because they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And all the tribes are going, uh-oh. That Hoggard guy and all those other Christians, they were right. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And we know that Mark says it, he completes the picture of it. Matthew's only giving you a partial picture. Mark is completing the picture, because Mark says that he shall send his angels, and they shall gather together his elect from one end of heaven to the other, and from one end of the earth to the other. So we got all four bases covered on this thing. Okay, one end of heaven to the other, one end of earth to the other. That's four bases as far as I'm concerned. All right? Now, and it just kind of took me when I read these two verses and thought about it in relation to Matthew 24. Because the question in my mind is, when Jesus gathers together those elect from one end of heaven to the other, what heaven is he referring to? Is it referring to the first heaven, the sky above us, the second heaven, the realm of what they call outer space, and now that the James Webb telescope he is stopping there and telling me to stop. I'm just stopping there. And he says, now you shall enter the door to see the one. And he says, fear not. Then Betty appeared to undergo an out-of-body experience. Betty says, I'm standing there and I'm coming out of myself. There's two of me there. Fred says, are you looking at yourself? Betty says, uh-huh. Fred says, do you feel as if you were in both bodies? Betty says, no, that one over there is like, Fred says, like what? Betty says, that one over there, it's like a twin, but it's still like those people I saw on those ice cubes. Talking about those crystal coffins, she says. In other words, a motionless copy of you. Betty says, yes. Fred says, okay, do you see the one yet? Betty says, the one? No. Fred says, okay, go on. Betty says, I'm coming up to the door, and the little person is saying, now you shall enter the great door and see the glory of the one. And I'm standing face to face with that door. Then Betty became very puzzled. Now, I have to tell you, the first time I saw the reference to the door, I immediately thought of my Bible and what it said, or let's say my Bible and who it says the door is. And it has nothing to do with what Betty Andreessen saw that day. The real door is Jesus Christ. Revelation 4:1. After this, and looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, come up hither, and I will shew thee things which must be hereafter. John chapter 10, verse 9. Jesus said, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved and shall go in and out and find pasture. So, we believe as Christians that Christ is the door, or in other words, the way that you and I can enter into the glorious kingdom of God. We must enter in through the door, Jesus Christ.
tylko końcóweczkę, bo ona dotyczy bardziej kapłaństwa. Ona ma 6 stron, by zrozumieć, w jakim stanie dzisiaj funkcjonuje dzieci Kościół. Tu usłyszycie dzisiaj, uczycie hasło: Judasz sprawuje władzę w tej świątyni. Żeby zrozumieć, jak oni działają. Przeciwnicy, czyli masoneria, bo część Kościoła nie uznaje, że masonerii nie ma, księża w to nie wierzą. Wszystko. Zacznę od przykładu historycznego. Deniakin, generał białych, za czasów powstania rewolucji w Rosji, miał taką przewagę technologiczną nad bolszewikami, że do Moskwy mu zostało parę dni bo to była zgraja zbierańców. Militarnie, choć było ich 500 tysięcy, 10 tysięcy pokonywano białogwardzistów, bo nie mieli metody walki, kapujecie? I kwestia upadku czerwonej zarazy to była kwestia paru tygodni. I co robi masoneria? Najpierw uruchamia Piłsudskiego, który zatrzymuje ofensywę na czerwonych, też na Białorusi. Podpisuje 2-miesięczny pokój. Następnie rozkazuje generałom Deniakina, którzy byli masonami, żeby przeszli na stronę czerwonych. I co się stało? Pół armii mu zdradziło. No i oni gonili dla Deniakina. I masoneria tak samo przygotowuje atak na Kościół. Większość wysyłanych na studia kapłanów do Rzymu jest przejmowana przez nich. I oni tu są pousypiani i w odpowiednim momencie działają. Mają misję. Część idzie na biskupstwo, a część ma tajną misję to na uczelni i oni bez przerwy sieją destrukcję, kapujecie? Będzie rączki składał w Radio Maria, list skończony, ojciec Tadeusz przekonany, że to czysty aniołek z tytułami, a list już jest tam wkręcony i tam dalej sieje. Taka jest dzisiaj, dzieci, bitwa. Stąd Bóg mówi: Judasz sprawuje dzisiaj władzę w Kościele. Macie na internecie filmiki, jak wyłapują kleryków, jak wyjeżdżają na spotkania integracyjne, biorą kleryków studiujących w Rzymie czy księży. Dzieci, to jest machina. Wam trudno to uwierzyć, bo nie jesteście historykami, no i nie spotkaliście się z ofiarami tego systemu. Oni są tak silni, że będą mnie, czy komuś to próbuje to mówić, że głosisz spiskową teorię dziełów, jesteś uwrażliwiony, jesteś pokrzywdzony, masz ale. Do nas i nas tak mówisz. To są mistrzowie kłamstwa.